I think it goes without saying that Lightfall is a narrative disappointment. It failed to live up to the hype created by previous expansions, i.e., Witch Queen, and the seasons that follow it, like Seraph. It felt disconnected. It seemed as if huge elements of the story were taken out and spread out across multiple seasons. Lightfall will go down in Destiny history as the story that could have at least been decent, but instead became nothing more than a Dragon Ball Z filler. And believe me, you do not want to be a filler episode from Dragon Ball Z. But what if it didn't? What if they fused Lightfall's story with the Season of Defiance's story, along with the Veil Containment dialogue and the Witness's Origins cutscene? In this video, I would like to propose a hypothetical questline that will serve as the canon Lightfall storyline going forward, one that both old and new players can experience. This is a questline that I believe the Destiny 2 team can be able to make, well, with the extra time that they have. This could serve two purposes. One, to create some goodwill from the community, because God knows the team needs it now more than ever. And two, to generate hype for the final shape, and to reinvigorate the dev team. This is not the first time the dev team restructured a story before. Back in the Taken King expansion in D1, the team gave the base storyline its own quest, streamlining what missions to do, adding in some flavor text in the quest steps to bring in a little bit of depth. Although the missions themselves remained the same, the questline brought in at least some coherency. Lightfall should be given a similar treatment. To be clear, this is more so a restructuring of story missions, cutscenes, and dialogue. The Lightfall missions will serve as the big, bombastic event type of missions, while the Defiance missions will serve as the in-between missions, not unlike the Witch Queen campaigns and the Reflection missions. The assets themselves will not change, just everything surrounding them will, if that makes sense. Also, if necessary, I would like to add in a few more additional dialogue to help work alongside the dialogue that's already there, or replace them entirely. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. This is Lightfall Redux. Lightfall Redux opens up similarly to the original. The Witness and Callus's forces invade Earth and attack the Traveler. The Witness discovers the Veil on Neptune and sends in Callus, its newest disciple. You're given the option to play on normal or legendary, just like the original. The first, second, and third missions will play out just as normal. We discover Neomuna, we test the power of Strand, and see that Callus is attempting to make a connection to the Veil. After the mission Downfall, when Osiris laments on our failure to destroy the radial mast, we get a call from Marosov, requesting our assistance on Earth. This is where the questline starts to diverge from the old version. We head back to Earth to find that Amanda is trying to rescue civilians taken by the Shadow Legion. We would play through a story variant of the Defiant Battlegrounds on the EDZ. The cutscene where Crow reunites with Amanda would play out. Then, we would head to Marosov, residing on the farm, to get an update on what the situation is on Earth. It's important to note that keeping the terminal dialogue is beneficial because it gives players an idea of what the characters are thinking at that moment. Afterwards, we get a call from Rohan and Nimbus telling us to look into establishing Neomuna's defenses. This is where players would get to play the fourth Lightfall mission, Breakneck. When that mission is done, our ghost would tell us that he was looking through the Neomuna archives and discovered audio logs about the Veil by Chioma Essie. We would listen to a few audio logs before presuming our mission. After that's done, we get called back to Earth to rescue prisoners in the Cosmodrome via Battleground. This will play similarly to what I presented earlier. Then, we would get a cutscene between Osiris and Nimbus, where the two talk about the light and the dark, and how both affect the universe surrounding them. Then, Nimbus refers to an area where Strand is at its strongest, thus bringing us to the fifth Lightfall mission, On the Verge. Afterwards, our ghost brings up more audio logs, continuing to build up momentum on the Veil's nature. We get sent back to Earth to continue the fight against the Shadow Legion. We invade their orbital prison via battleground mission, same as before. We are treated to a conversation between Amanda and Mithrax having a drink, trading stories. Amanda gives her backstory on who she was as a character and how she got to this point. Then, we would get a call from Devram K to head to the EDZ to assist Amanda and Mithrax. Then, the cutscene plays where Amanda tries to open the doors to rescue the prisoners. She succeeds in getting the door open and saving both the prisoners and Mithrax, but not herself. In this version, one small detail I would like to add is that before the base self-destructs, we hear a dialogue from either our guardian or the ghost chiming in through the radio, proclaiming that they are behind the door next to her, coming to save her. But it's too late. We return to the farm to see Savala grieving over Amanda's death, and Crow proclaiming revenge against the Shadow Legions. Afterwards, we get a cutscene from Osiris and Rohan having a conversation before seeing the radio mass being escorted to the Veil. As we listen to more Veil dialogues, our guardian suddenly connects to Strand and we hear a voice call out, a warning of what might happen should we fail.
Before you can confront the witness, you must understand it. The witness's first victims were once like you, struggling for survival, bolstered by hope, until their hopes became reality. They called it the Gardener, their deity of life. It ushered them into a golden age. For eons they prospered, but their newfound god never spoke to them. It lavished them with gifts, but not with guidance. And though they lived in paradise, they came to crave a greater purpose. They desired meaning, structure, a winnower, to shape the garden. Their scholars discovered that the Gardener shared a connection with another entity among the stars. They called it the Veil, and when they found it, they arrived to claim it. They already knew much about the light, how it could bend the laws of the universe and create life. But they came to realize that it could bring ruin just as easily. The cosmic events it set in motion could wipe out entire civilizations in a heartbeat, without reason. And so they saw the light, not as a source of prosperity, but of unfettered chaos. By studying the Veil, they came to know the darkness. A power that was shaped by thought and consciousness. And in the darkness, they found the means to carve away the chaos of existence, to calcify it into a final shape, eternal and perfected. They brought the Veil back to the Gardener in an attempt to strengthen their connection. There, they could reshape reality itself. The Gardener would not allow it, and so it fled their world. But they would not be deterred. Having witnessed the truth in the darkness, they used its binding power to merge themselves into the salvation they craved. Thus began the Witness's pursuit, its campaign to impose meaning on a meaningless universe. one that is nearly at its end.
This would drive the stakes through the roof. We now know what must be done. The radial mast must be destroyed. Before we get to the 6th mission, no time left, we meet up with Rohan to give us an update on the situation on New Muna. Then, he tells us that he heard about Amanda's death over the radio and sympathizes with us. He tells us he looks at Nimbus like family, and that if something bad were to happen, he would blame himself. Then he would tell you that he didn't trust you at first, but after witnessing your actions and what you're going through currently, he realizes that they all need to stand together to make it through this catastrophe. Thus, we are brought to the 6th Lightfall mission. We fight through Callus' forces, fend off tormentors, and head to the facility above the Veil. There, we fend off more forces alongside Rohan. We use Strand to gain an upper hand, but become extremely exhausted by that point. Rohan has no choice but to sacrifice himself to destroy the radial mast. Rohan's sacrifice gives the Guardian enough time to head back to Earth and finish the fight with the Shadow Legion residing there. Crow makes contact and tells us that we are assaulting the Cabal fleet in orbit. We destroy their command ships and break their hold on Earth. Then, we get a cutscene where Callus talks to Witness, saying there is a delay. This further increases his credibility as a disciple, and the Witness talks down on Callus. Callus then goes on a rant and insults the Witness. The Witness silences Callus and tells him to personally secure the Veil. After that, we go through the 7th mission, Headlong, where we master Strand to its fullest potential. The stakes have been laid, losses were made. It's time we make a final stand and stop Callus from securing the Veil. We reach the 8th and final mission, Desperate Measures.
The Veil's exposed. Keep them away from it, at all costs. Leave the Emperor to me. I held them off as long as I could. Callus is coming for you. It's in your hands now, Guardian. Give him the end he deserves. I'm reading major shockwaves in the vault. The Emperor's smashing through that place.
Hurry, Guardian. He'll get them before you.
Callus, the former Cabal Emperor, is no more. All is well in the world. Until...
We finally found you.
Get your ghost!
What's wrong, Osiris?
Get your ghost out of there!
Finality takes shape.
It's creating the link!
At long last.
Destroy it!
What just happened?
We just lost.
Zavala, come in.
The universe makes us all victim and perpetrator of its infinite cruelty. You, more than any, suffer both fates. Be free.
We head to Osiris on Neomuna and tells us that the witness cannot see what we are doing outside the Traveler, and that something is preventing it. This gives a small glimmer of hope, and that what we do now will determine the fate of everything. Then, as the final step of the questline, we head to the farm, while Zavala stands beside Amanda's grave, and gives his heartfelt goodbye to his ace pilot.
I love you, Amanda. I am so proud of you. Forgive me.